Tuesday, March 29th, 2011, approximately 7:15. The first item we have are approval of the minutes of meetings, but actually Linda could not attend tonight, so we don't have any minutes before us. Approve warrants or any, you have any bills, Chief? No? Next item, updates on repairs, information regarding. Oh, sorry.
One thing, that United Divers thing was taken care of.
It is?
Yes.
Okay, what?
Well, they agreed to some school invoices and
Great.
apparently invoices are here and they're with the treasurer.
Pardon?
The invoices are here and they're with the treasurer.
Okay.
So everything.
Okay, great.
Cool.
So we don't have a problem with 30B then? Okay, thank you. Chief, update on repairs or any repairs?
The only thing we have, Mr. Chairman, is on the last meeting, the hole in the back shed will be fixed this week. In regards to the basement, we talked to Mr. Medeiros and got some prices to fix the carpet that was uprooted. I can present that to you for an article to be placed on this year's warrant with all the station repairs. Which it's up to you because
how much
no money.
More or less.
It came out to $2,200. There's two different things. To epoxy the floor, Mr. Medeiros is here. He can speak on it. They have to rent a machine. They have to grind all the glue from the old carpet off, so they got to put it down to bare. He's estimating it at about $1,500 to rent the machines and the two guys. His recommendation was based on the quote. If everybody approves it and there's money, we have samples here. It's what the town uses, the mold-resistant, water-resistant tiles that get glued down over the floor. If they get damaged, all they do is heat them up, uproot them, put them back down.
The total cost, approximately?
$22,1068 is the estimate, and his estimate number $1,338.
Can I see that?
I haven't passed it by the procurement officer. Yeah. And the other one that was asked was, this was to build a new wall.
A whole new wall?
Correct, over what's being done. But we had discussed either doing that or moving the ceiling, extending the ceiling. Mr. Medeiros feels that moving the ceiling is more economical than putting a whole new wall up.
With a wall, this is almost $5,000. The wall, the wall. I mean that room is not used for any purpose other than just going down and using an exercise room. So I feel that if we just can put some kills or some sealant on the wall itself, I mean that should serve the purpose of.
What we did, Mr. Chairman, was, again, working on an article for the upkeep for the station. We actually included painting, not installing the wall, painting the whole basement so everything will match, including all the old paneling.
Yeah, because if you put dry lock, which doesn't cost that much, I mean, you could probably do it for under $500. Question?
What are you talking about putting dry lock on what? On the existing wall that's downstairs? I thought we just awarded that contract to Global to.
Oh, to put a ceiling, yeah.
No, they're actually going to put like an FRP panel permanently attached to that wall. You're going to have a white vinyl facade the whole length of the wall. There's no waterproofing needed. That's why, in building a framing wall in front of it, there's actually no need for it.
There is
just
no
finish
well,
the ceiling to the edge.
Yeah, whether we put a panel or we put dry lock, there's no need to build a wall.
You don't need to dry lock. How are you going to put dry lock over the panel? That's...
Well, no. If we put dry lock before, my thing is either if we put dry lock on the wall or we put the vinyl panels, there's no need to do this.
Oh, I agree.
Right.
That's why just extend, I told the chief, just extend the ceiling.
Correct.
But you don't need to put drywall because you're having it permanently fixed by putting the panels.
The only thing we were gonna do is, since one wall is basically white and the rest is the paneling, again, part of the article is to prime it, prime all the other walls, so the whole basement basically will get repainted, totally redone. We're not recommending that. It was brought up at the last meeting,
Okay.
and that's why I presented to you. We're not recommending to put up a wall.
Because I mean, there's one number, I don't think we should spend $5,000 to put a sheetrock wall. Okay, on the basement floor, explain, are you gonna grind it?
If you want to put an epoxy finish on, you currently have adhesive on it, it's dried on, it's actually got a texture to it. You have to grind it because the epoxy, it's a two-part epoxy, and the epoxy is going to counter-react with the adhesive. So you have to actually grind down the floor. You rent a machine, you grind the heads, you got to grind it down and put down the epoxy. You're going to spend $400 or $500 on renting a machine to grind the concrete down. Then you paint it, lasts whatever it lasts. The indoor, outdoor carpet tile that's quoted by Olivia's, and I called a couple other companies. One came down, one blew me off. One came down and still hadn't submitted the price for today. If it gets damaged, you get a wear pattern, whatever it is, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, you heat it up with a simple hair dryer, and you literally peel it off and you reinstall a new one. It gets wet, you vacuum it, you squeegee the floor, you vacuum it with a shop vac, put an air dryer, you're not going to get mold, you're not going to get muffy smells.
How many square feet is it downstairs?
So whatever's, I don't know, I don't have that estimate. That's by Olivia's, they measured it.
So is that for the whole basement?
Nope, that is from the
The
carpet.
closet? Or just the carpet
The
section?
carpet area, that was what was asked.
That's a small area.
That's what was asked.
We will leave it in Noam down because it wasn't to do the whole floor. It was just to do original. It was just to epoxy that section. That's all it was done.
How wide is this building, this room right here?
$24, $25?
By, because I would say
About 20, half of it.
so maybe 300 square feet? Well, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what that area be, other than myself having to go down there and measure.
They should actually.
Because it's $2,200 that they're gonna charge us for a small area. I thought this $2,200 was for the whole basement. That's just for the area that was carpet. So why don't we just epoxy the whole basement and just leave it like that, with the mats where the workout equipment is, the gym equipment? Why do we have to do anything with that other section, that small section? We're better off just putting a carpet. If it gets wet, we just throw it out. You can get a carpet at Home Depot for probably $100 for that area, or $150.
I'd like to see that.
Huh?
That I'd like to see. A carpet installed downstairs.
Not
for
installed.
$150.
You just not installed, but a carpet for that area. 9x12 at Home Depot is about $120. I know. I actually rehab a lot of buildings.
So how are you gonna make it 20 by 30, whatever we just figured out?
You just get a couple. Right now, we had an area rug pretty much down there because it wasn't really wall to wall.
It was wall to wall.
It was.
Wall to wall. And you got half the downstairs in this room is the vinyl. Half of it was vinyl, half of it was wall to wall. Glued down, full surface.
I just cannot see spending $2,200. I could
I'm not going to argue with that.
I mean, I'll bet you.
You
all right,
guys
so
want a price, I got
say
to live
$400. I could probably get a carpet down there for $400. You know, I mean, it's just.
Go for
I
it.
just do not think that the district should spend almost $2,500 to put this carpet in a small section. And if it gets wet, then you're gonna have to rip up pieces, and then 4 or 5 years from now, they might be discontinued. You know, I
If it
definitely
gets-
think we need to seal
The
it.
thing of getting wet,
Mhm.
if it gets wet, with that rug, you're not going to have a mold issue. You're not going to have
Yeah.
an issue with that. Versus with your
I
$100
understand.
rug from Home Depot,
Yeah, you throw it out. You know, you just throw it out.
It's up to you.
I just, And I definitely think, obviously, we have to seal it with epoxy. Now, you tell me you're gonna grind it? What about beat it? With some, you know,
Get somebody down here to bead blast it. I've
To
seen
bead
it done,
blast
it ain't cheap.
pardon?
I've seen it done, it
No,
ain't
I'm
cheap.
just, what's the difference between bead blast and just grinding it?
What's the difference? You're gonna get a smoother surface, bead blasting.
Mhm.
There's more expensive bead blasting, and there's more of a contamination area with bead blasting. That's all.
Yeah, but doesn't bead blast, now it makes it porous, so it holds epoxy a lot better than just if you just grind it?
That's gonna be the same.
Pardon?
It'll be the same. I think.
I just
honestly,
had
think bead
it, I just
blasting-
had it done to a 16,000 square foot area, so.
So am
Yeah,
I
right.
at the school department. I've had both of them done. It's not an aspect of one versus the other. I think bead blast is more better, no questions asked,
Yeah, because it doesn't.
but it's going to be, once again, more expensive. Go for it. I'm not here to sway you one way or the other. I mean, I got nothing to gain out of it. It's just, they asked for information, I gave them
Right.
information.
So, to do the basement, okay, to grind it and put epoxy,
I would figure you're looking at about $1,500.
is that the whole basement?
Negative.
Just that
Carpeted area.
carpeted area? But you don't know the square footage?
Off the top of my head.
Can we just extend the vinyl, or put another piece of vinyl in, half the basement's already vinyl? Is
Sure,
that possible?
right ahead.
Would we have to grind that area
It's-
again?
The carpet, the Olivia's that quoted, they would be grinding down the glue themselves and installing the carpet. So they would have to do the same thing to put down sheet vinyl.
Well, why don't can we just extend it and put, what do we have in the, half the basement is used for gym, am I correct? Pretty much half?
Yeah.
And what do we have on that floor? Is it the rubber? Just
It's rubber on top of the sheet vinyl.
Yeah. So, what are we gonna use that other section for?
That is the rec room.
And when you have standbys, guys put down cots, they put down bags, what do you call them things? Duffel bags? Sleeping bags on the floor.
On the floor?
On the floor, on everything you can.
The one thing, Mr. Chairman, was we were not intending to do this now. Because we wanted to do the wall first,
Right.
see how, if it worked. I actually had to do the basement flooring. That section only. However, it was done for July 1st. Not to have, that way
Well,
we give it some time.
I understand, I just don't want to, I don't want this department, the district or department to spend money that it doesn't have to. If we can do something, like if we only use that rec area for standby, then, you know, if we have 1,500 to epoxy, and it's just that section, another 2,500 more or less, now we're up to $5,000.
How do you figure $2,500?
Huh?
That Olivia's carpet, they come in, they'll grind it down and install your carpet in that area.
So what about the epoxy?
That was the other option that was
Okay.
asked. Instead of carpeting, if you're looking at just epoxy,
All right.
you don't need to do both at all.
We didn't go
You,
down.
then you clarify now on that? Olivia's?
You know, I
totally
understand, I'm just thinking in my mind what I would do if it was my building, what I would do, so, that's what I'm,
Yeah, I know, you just look confused.
no, I'm not, I'm just thinking. Not confused, I do this all the time. Okay. And how much do we have, we don't have that much in the building account anyways right now.
I believe according to Mr. Fox, there's a hold on it. Because there was the hold put on the back shed also. I want to,
Yeah, we don't have,
less than 10.
right. Well, we just have to watch our budget, because if we get close to the fiscal year and we have some money, then maybe we can spend some of it on the basement.
I mean, if it's only gonna be a difference of $700 between putting the carpet down and epoxy in the floor, I'd rather see the carpet down there, especially if it's the rec area.
Yeah.
That's what guys are going to sleep in.
Just paint.
I think it's more How much for the wall?
They al-
Make it a little bit warmer and everything.
Yeah, they also use that side to work out. Also, when they're not using the machines, that's the side they stretch. That's where the TV is. That's where the DVD player is.
It's only now $700 more, and I think the copy would be a little bit more comfortable.
Well, we'll just wait till the end of the fiscal year. See
Okay.
what happens.
So you don't want to put a warrant on that or add that to the warrant?
I have a whole list of stuff that's been talked about in the past. That was part of it. Not only was, like I said,
So we could do one warrant for the building? Which would
Correct.
include this?
you could, the sum that I came out with, you can include it into, I think it was Article 5, which you just increase the building account, or you just put a separate article. That way, that money, if it gets approved, is earmarked for those repairs. It can't be used for nothing else.
So how much should we, an additional for the building?
We came out, Mr. Chairman, with 40,000, but we just deducted the 25 for that. We came out with $40,000, and what the $40,000 would do was to replace the 4 windows above the garage with new thermal pane windows. Was that was $1,500. Was $10,000 to repair the stone wall. We came out with $5,000 to paint the exterior of the building. One of the recommendations were to save on labor, was to see if we can get the sheriff's department back here. We're painting the station, we're working on that. Then we had $2,500,
Chief, what was the payment of the exterior?
approximately $5,000.
Okay.
Then we had $2,500 for the floor in the basement, because if you did do the carpet or do epoxy, they still have to put the moldings, since it was wall to wall. To fix the cracks in the apparatus floor, 4 walls, is separation cracks. We estimated about $2,500. The 4 exterior lights were estimated at about $1,500. It was talked about for a couple of years, was to replace the kitchen counters back with the same material that's there now, except a different color, and what's there now is all peeling. That was approximately $5,000. And after the roof was done, about $10,000 to replace the insulation above the ceilings. Those are all estimates, which came out to $40,000. When the deputy, myself, and the treasurer did the budget, we actually had 45 included for the cruiser. We took the cruiser out when we were doing the department budget. We're actually $5,000 less than what was originally estimated for an article.
So, yeah, so it's less. So that's what he's saying, it's 45. It's less. Anything else for the building, or any other items for the warrant?
Those were the main ones.
Okay.
There was talk in regards to, a couple of years ago, in regards to replacing this floor. It was basically, they were going to start where the carpet was torn downstairs, come right up the stairs, all of this, men's room, ladies' room, and the kitchen. We did not get prices on that, just by after seeing what the basement was. But those actually, Mr. Potato had 3 prices, 3 quotes are ready to do all that work. The hard work was this first floor, because you had to do the sub layer underneath it. Once you pull this linoleum up, you have to redo all the floor.
Well,
We did not put that on for next year.
no, because I think last year, we had on the warrant about approximately 42,000. This year, it looks like it's around the same. So, I as one member don't feel like we should, maybe we'll have to take that out next year, or any additional expense in the
Right.
building.
This is what's being recommended right now is the $40,000
Okay.
to get the major work done.
Question?
And that was to be on an article, or however the Prudential Committee deems necessary.
Okay, what you have is, I went home last week and did all the articles we did on last week. Do
Okay.
you want to change Article 5 to include this? We now have $48,800 in the building account, which is for maintenance and running expenses of the land and building owned by the district. Do you want to change that amount?
I have here, let me see which
Article
one.
5. Article 5.
Let me see it.
You got the same one, I
We're just seeing 48. What do you have?
got?
46.
46.5.
Yeah.
Oh, 46.8.
46.8.
Okay, I think it's at 48, yeah.
So, do you want to add the 40,000 to that? or-
Well, we're gonna deduct from 46.8 to 40.
No, they already
Right,
wanted
this is in
46.8.
addition to.
This is addition to the 46.8. What he's giving, is it correct, Chief? What you're
Correct.
giving is in addition to what we have, the 46.8, you're now asking for another 40,000 to do the other repairs, correct?
Correct. The 46.8 is what was estimated for gas, electric, regular maintenance on the building. This is an addition, this is totally separate.
So last year, Article 5,
It was 45,000.
it was 45,000.
That's our operating expenses.
Correct.
Okay.
That's our operating.
And we had no other, the only other article we had was for the roof.
Container.
Last year, we had the article for the roof,
Roof.
which was $60,000.
Right,
Correct.
And you had the fire truck.
right.
That was it.
Now, John, the treasurer's concurred on these amounts, the $40,000?
When we talked and originally did the budget, he had included 45.
In
It's-
addi- in
it- we
addition-
took the, we took the 45 out. He was told to remove the cruiser out. Instead of buying a new cruiser, we're gonna use the money to fix the station.
On that list, what items do we really need, a necessity, and what do we not?
Stone wall,
That's a necessity?
what's falling apart.
So that 10,000 is to replace the whole wall?
No, it's
To repair?
to repair it. That's high. That's a high estimate. We contacted 3 contractors. Only one gave us an estimate, the other 2 never gave an estimate, and the estimate was about, I think, $8,000. And I presented, I believe, last week to your board, to repair what's there. It was 20-something thousand to tear it down and build a whole new stone wall. But the garage windows, that can go on hold. The base, the apparatus floor should be fixed, because what it's doing is any water's just leaking downstairs, or wherever it's going from the cracks in the
Oh,
floor. The
t-
separation wall right here,
Mhm.
if you look down it,
So where are the cracks? Is it the separation wall from that room to this room? Because under there is no,
correct, from there to here.
there's no room under there.
Correct, from there to here, mostly this side. And then you also have it on the exterior, but the exterior we're not too concerned with. We're more concerned with this wall here. The other thing, can hold off, if you care to, on the exterior lights.
Well, why do we need to replace the exterior lights?
That was when we have some of them shut off because the neighbors were complaining what was there was too bright, and the new style light that the electrician was gonna put on was less wattage than what these are, and they were supposed to shine down instead of shining out like these were. That was the reason for the lights. The kitchen cap,
Wait, and how much is that?
at the time, he estimated about $300 each light in this floor. That was at the time. The kitchen counter, $5,000. The Prudential Committee wants to hold off. You can hold off. That's been talked about for a while. The insulation on top of the garage roof was, on top of the, since the roof was leaking, that was to replace. And the only thing that's left on the exterior of the building that needs to be done would be the painting of the station. And if we can get the sheriff, that would be approximately $5,000 just for materials. It'd actually be less than that. We got all the quotes for the materials to paint downstairs, actually to paint the ceiling on the apparatus floor instead of replacing tiles, to prime and do everything to the exterior block, and to restain all the wooden shingles.
Any questions?
So you can't cut it down.
The insulation, couldn't we wait to see what's really needed, how much of it got damaged, if, I mean, you know what I mean? It could be one small area versus the whole floor, you know what I mean? That's a big difference in price right there, if they just gotta replace sections where the roof might have leaked.
Well, half of the 40,000, or approximately 40,000, is the stone wall and the insulation for the roof.
What's the price for the insulation?
He's estimated about 10,000. But where did you get that
We talked to a couple of contractors because what's up there now was installed back. Code has changed. So once you start touching it, you have to bring up the whole, up the code. And we were going to try, well, the electrician, once the roof's done, the electrician, as long as he can do it for the same price, is supposed to come in and drop some of the tiles. Because he's supposed to replace the lights that's up there.
And, Mr. Chairman, I haven't done anything on any of that, so
Right,
chances are, when I get into it.
yeah.
We haven't budgeted for the procurement officer to get into it.
Right.
So,
Any questions on, how do you feel?
if we got the building, we gotta take care of it. I mean, we can't go without the insulation if there
Right.
is mold up there or a problem up there. We're not gonna take the ceiling tiles down and paint them.
Right.
And then pay to have them put back up and pay to take them down again to put the insulation, do it all at once. And if it comes out to be half that price, at least we budgeted for it, but if we don't budget for it,
Right.
I don't know how bad the
What
stone wall's
about the stone
falling.
wall?
How bad is it? I mean, is it actually falling down?
Yeah, there's pieces falling out of it.
Yeah,
There is.
the kids run
I
up and
looked
down
at it
it.
today.
Kids in the neighborhood run up and down it, and the top cap, and you can see with some of the sides are collapsing on the stone wall.
Stuff needs to get done.
Okay, make a motion.
How much you wanna add to that item? Which items you wanna add to?
Well, I think we can wait on kitchen counters. I think we can wait on the lights.
Are you saying, Chief, the stone wall, the cracks in the apparatus floor, and replace insulation, is that what you're saying, basically?
In the paint.
What I have 4 things that would be nice to get done. Would be the stone wall, the exterior of the building,
Okay.
forgive me my eyesight, I apologize, 3. The stone wall, exterior of the building,
And the installation.
the insulation, and if we can do the cracks on the apparatus floor. That's the 4.
Yeah, but what about the windows? If we're gonna have these guys here, I mean, are they gonna be the same ones gonna put the windows in, or somebody's gonna have to go
No.
back and do the
Different
windows?
contractor.
It's different?
It's not, it's actually, would be under 30B, because it'd be about $1,200 to replace the windows. Technically, it would be, if you're gonna decide, again, I'm not a contractor, we got a general contractor here, if you're gonna decide to replace the trim around the window, you might as well replace the windows
Mhm.
at the same time. That's why everything kind of went together with the painting of the building.
You wanna add the windows to that? I've got 27.5. If you add the stone wall, the exterior painting, cracks in the floor, and insulation, I come up with 27.5.
And the carpet is added into this too, or is that?
The carpet, I took the carpet out.
No, from downstairs.
No, I took the carpet out
So it's
because if there's money left over in this year's budget,
Right.
we're gonna try to do the carpet.
So unless we round it off to 30,000.
And you wanna add that to Article 5, or you wanna make this a separate article?
I think it should be for 5 years. It is for maintenance and running expenses for the land and building, so I think it should be put there. It's just additional items that he wants to have repaired. We already have an article for it. I think it should be added to that amount, personally.
So what are you saying, add like another 30 and see
Article
where that
5.
takes us?
And then actually get the work done,
Yeah.
not sit on it.
So, yeah, I think that adding it to the building account is the best way, because it is for maintenance.
So that would become 76,800.
Right. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'm making a motion for 30. Added to Article 5.
The $30,000 to, so the total would be 76,800?
I second it.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
The only article that we did not discuss last week is Article 9. The chief had given me the sheets with all the permit fees, and I got them down there, so that's something that has to be voted by you. The last time we did this, it was inserted by the chief and then recommended by the Prudential Committee. Whatever your pleasure is.
Is there a motion on the floor to accept Article 9 as is, with all the fees?
I make the motion to accept Article 9 as is.
I'll second it.
The permit fees and also the fee schedule.
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna sit with the chief probably the next couple of days and make sure I have the right numbers, I don't wanna have the wrong numbers there, so he and I will double check it to make sure we have all the right numbers in the right place.
I want to bring up one item here. Article 8. Last week, I asked the chief on the dive team, because it seemed like it was such a small number, $5,000. How many members do we have on the dive team?
Technically 6.
Okay. What's a full, to dress up one of the divers, what's the total cost?
From head to toe, new regulators and
Everything,
PCs,
yeah.
it'd be about $3,200.
No way.
Well, I guess they just did, that was the question.
Head to toe, tank,
Yeah.
BC,
That-
dry suit?
That was the question. They purchased 2 complete sets last July, and it came out to $6,300.
Tank and all. PC.
Yeah.
That's cheap.
Right.
Chuck?
Yeah, I don't think that included the mask, but,
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I'll call Troy to have him come down there if you want.
Pardon?
You want me to have Troy come down there?
Well, from what I was told, as the chief, Mr. Chairman, I was told that the 4 of the divers got together, they made a punch list on what equipment they need. They gave me the punch list, per protocol, that punch list is supposed to go to the lieutenant in charge. He had the punch list, he came back, they estimated about $500 to $750. What I'm being told is, all the divers are fine for their suits. That's what I'm being told by the LT, that the divers are all set. I can tell you in talking to the divers, you got some 15, 20-year-old suits there.
Well, that's my next question, okay? Because I've been working on this dive team for the last couple of years here, and I've always said that I want a dive team that's not a recovery but a rescue, when we should be being on the water. And, when I see an invoice come through, just even last week for, a double invoice for $6,000, and we only appropriated $5,000 for the year, that just tells me something doesn't seem right. So, on the divers right now, say we have 5 or 6, do they all have brand new suits?
If you want to change that to 10,000, you're going to have no argument with me, Mr. Chairman. I'm going by the
Well-
lieutenant who told me
Uh-huh.
that the suits the gentlemen have are good. I find that all they need is some bags, some masks, some small stuff is all they need.
Well-
Their training all comes out of travel and
Right.
training. I can tell you we've been doing this for a long time. It's about $2,000 to have those regulators sent out to get tested. I'm going by the figures that were tossed at me.
Okay.
$10,000, I have no issue. Is that
Well, I'm just
article-
wondering if even 10,000 is too
Well, that article
low.
has always been $10,000. As long as I can remember,
Yeah.
it's been 10,000.
I just do not want to all of a sudden have, whether it's 5,000 or 10,000 or 15, have an amount there that we're locked in, and all of a sudden we have a dive team that's taken the last 3 years to get in place, and now we don't have a full dive team because we're still short maybe $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000.
From what I was told, Mr. Chairman, that if there was money left over in this year's account for the divers, which there should be, the oldest suit, just the suit,
Right.
was going to get replaced out of this fiscal budget. Just the suit.
Right.
Not the BC and not everything else, and I think it's,
This suit needs to be replaced.
which is Bobby's.
Bobby's suit needs to be replaced at least.
Correct. Which, that was the game plan, if there was money left over, to get him a new suit. Now, I don't know if he needs new regulators, the whole
The guys
setup.
are left with
like-
20 years old.
Yeah, it's-
Okay.
Why don't we just send them-
Now, I have a
guys that are
question,
left?
because we have some individuals here on the dive team. How many new suits do we have?
We only have 2. For myself and Mr. O'Neill.
That's it.
And that's it.
My
And-
suit's probably 12, 15 years oldish.
So your suit is 12 years old.
And Ryan's is what?
We got the oldest, right?
Yeah, Ryan
The
is.
two Ferreras have the oldest suit.
And how many years?
20.
89.
What?
89.
20 years old?
20 years
Oh,
old.
yeah.
But the suits, the suits have been sent out, okay? And they have been tested, and they have come back. Again, I have no issue
Right. Oh, I understand you don't. I'm just trying to,
changing it. I'm just going by.
What they gave-
I was
what's-
hoping to come in front of you today with a purchase order for the requests of those 4 individuals for their bags and all the equipment that they asked for. I haven't seen it. So,
because
okay,
I'm looking here and saying, okay, this is for out of 5 divers, we have only 2 new suits, 112, 20 years old. I don't care if you're sending out what they do. I mean, I'm sure in the last 20 years, technology has changed drastically. I think sending it out is just like sending out, something, just get a patch on it. And to me, that just doesn't work.
I have no issue. Again, I don't know what the treasurer's going to say. I have no issue. You want to increase that to 15.
Well,
Which
I
will
would,
get you basically 4 more suits, which will be 12.
yeah, or at least maybe this year if we ended up getting 2 new suits or 3. I would like to see the dive team, since this board has implemented a dive team to be a rescue dive team. I thought that probably in like 3 years, would actually all have new.
Unfortunately, Mr. Chairman, and you have the majority of them here,
Troy's on his way.
Saturday was probably the first time the 5 of them hit the water together.
May I make a recommendation? As a diver, that I do dive on my own, the guys that are training, I think they should all be in brand new gear. They should all be in brand new gear. For one, you're training, you get used to that gear. You can't get used to some gear and then jump into something different when they do get new stuff, because then, like you say, the technology changes, the floating changes, and your whole body changes in the gear. Gear, to me, diving gear, when you go 30, 40 feet down, you want to make sure you got something that ain't 10, 20 years old. You want to make sure you got something that you're going to make it back to the top.
The whole thing has always been for this department. Chief Dumont is here, and chiefs before him will tell you the same thing. The dive team, and it's not with this group, that's why I'll support this group. In the past, the dive team have been allowed, and the department, the district bought all brand new equipment. I mean, we had vehicles, and the vehicles sat in the backyard, the divers never hit the water. I can honestly tell you, I have personally seen the two Forevers, Mr. Leduc and Mr. Brocious, constantly hitting the water last year. That's why I have no issue increasing this so they all get new suits.
Okay.
Because I questioned, he's not here, but I questioned one of the members who was the guy that didn't hit the water in 7 years, why he got a brand new suit when our duty guy is here every day.
Yeah.
Not every day, you know what I mean, available.
Well, I know that a few years ago, obviously, I focused on this dive, and yeah, you mentioned that in the past, the dive team, you know, they weren't committed. So I said, well, look, I mean, I, as one member, wanted to take the chance and say, okay, let's get them on the equipment, and let's see. If they don't commit, then they don't commit. Then shame on us. But they have been doing the training. They have been hitting the water. So at this point, why not, you know, acquire some more dive suits?
I have no issue if you want to change that to 15.
Is there? I feel as one member we should raise it up to 15. I mean, we're spending money here. We spend money on items where it's a stone wall or cracks. When in fact we have individuals out in. I mean, if they hit the water and it's 34 degrees, 30 feet down. I mean, that's you know. And I know you don't have, you know. This is just what I'm saying. So pardon?
What was the cost for two guys getting complete setups?
$6,200.
$6,200. We got 4 guys that need to get set up. How much is that going to cost? And then
That's without the mask.
That was without the mask.
Right.
They're
Right.
still using old masks.
Yeah.
For 18 months.
Well, 4 is about 12,000 more or less.
It might be cheaper though if you get 4 suits all together at
Yeah.
one shot.
Yeah, if we can get it from the same.
and then there'll still be enough money in the account for them to maintenance their gear.
We might be able,
Yeah.
depending on this year's budget.
This year we might be able to acquire, like we did,
At least
another
one.
one suit. So if we actually put on the, as an, you know, include, or actually increase the 5,000 to 15, I think it gives us a, you know, a cushion where we'll be able to at least get 3 suits, maybe 4. We should pick up one this year. We should pick up one this year, and then.
I mean, I don't want to open a can of worms, but we're severely space limited in the amount of gear that we have for 6 guys and where to put it in a safe manner. You know, keeping a dry suit rolled up in the bag isn't the best idea for the life of the suit. You know, we're running out of room over there. In order to be an adequate team, we can't have stuff scattered.
Right.
You know, we need.
Well, if we're spending this kind of money on dive, I mean, there is a commitment here that I see with a dive team.
22 dives
Pardon?
since July. 22 dives we've done since July.
That's great.
And that wasn't even including December we stopped diving.
But again, my opinion, and I'll discuss it with the lieutenant, the individuals that are hitting the water for 22 times should be the individuals getting the suits.
Oh,
Not the individuals
I agree.
that are not hitting the water.
Okay, I agree, but that's not.
I understand, so as
Right.
long as everybody's on the same page. Like
No,
said,
I
we're
agree.
here.
I mean, I'm here as one member to at least appropriate the funds to give them the necessary equipment and everything they need. Now, if you have one member or 2 members of the dive team that is not up to the amount of dives that the other ones, first of all, I think it's unfair, and maybe, and I don't know who the individual is, you know, but I just think that everyone should at least be able to, if you have other individuals hitting the water, say one individual has hit the water 10 times in 1 year, and then you have one hits it 1, then that's up to you, Chief.
I understand.
Okay?
We're dealing with it.
All right.
We're dealing. That's why I am confident.
Right.
A year ago, I am confident if you want to raise it to 15,
Yeah.
we'll take care of the divers.
My next question is then, to protect the equipment that they have and the gear they have, where do you keep it now?
In lockers on the side of the building there.
You just got a half a locker.
So how can we? I mean, I'm going to ask them. I want to know. I want to know what they feel because they're the dive team on what's the best way, or what are some of the options we have to keep that equipment? I mean, this equipment is expensive at this point too, so I want to keep it in a safe place, but also, not that it's all rolled up and,
We've been working that over with the chief. I mean, there's, obviously the lockers we have now, you can't do that. We're trying to see if maybe there's alternative, I mean, we're looking
what
at
are
the
some of the
space.
alternatives?
We don't have, we're trying to see if maybe we get a gear rack, or we gotta do it in the spot where that locker is. We don't have enough room. Try and maybe put it in bags. That's one of the ideas that I personally come up with, to get an actual dive bag and. try
Because
to-
time is of essence, so it's not as if you can, I mean, we have plenty of room down cellar. But that's not, I mean, if you want to hit the water quick, wouldn't you need it in the apparatus?
Right, the idea, and this goes back to previous divers, or some of these young men were under the pond, was the divers at the time all wanted their gears, all wanted their gear in a bag. That way, if the divers were called out, the individuals with the key could open the locker, grab each individual bag, instead of sitting there, grabbing fins,
Right,
That's why we did the lockers that we have, and that's why we had everything in a bag. That way they just grab a bag. The other day, for example, we got toned out for possible female in the water at the bottom of, in Clark's Cove, Roger Street. You had somebody going, stuff wasn't, I think it was in the bag. You had
No,
somebody
it's actually-
going in there, taking a little bit of this, a little bit of that, instead of grabbing, because technically we only had 2 divers. Instead of just grabbing bags and running with bags, they started taking pieces.
well, okay, how is it, so I'm unclear, how is it set up now? Is there a bag for each individual
No.
diver?
No,
It's
Or is
open.
it-
It just,
Pardon?
the gear's just open. So basically, if you open the locker, you have to grab fins and all
So
of
why
that
don't
stuff.
we have, I mean, just my organization skills, I think, I would think that if I'm here running, okay, and I'm on the fire department, I'm a firefighter, I'm gonna wanna just grab a bag and with my name on it and just go to the scene.
We are
quick
working on
fix.
that.
So-
We are working on that with the lieutenant. Probably for your next month's meeting, for April's meeting, the second Wednesday of April, you'll have a purchase order with what the lieutenant and the team decides on bags. I just had a conversation yesterday, I believe it was with Lieutenant Takudo, in regards to getting bags
Right.
for the members. And I know he's working on getting the bags.
Now, I know you can't fit the tank in the bag, but I mean, the tanks could be, that's
The
a whole
only
different.
thing I've seen that would be the quick fix to this, I mean, it's a ballpark shot, is a second-hand sunbeam truck, where they can make a dive truck out and have all their gear in it, ready to go. Ready to roll. And nothing brand new, a second-hand sunbeam truck, box truck type thing, like the police department have.
Yeah.
They can set up all their gear in it, letter it, have it parked wherever they're gonna keep it.
Well,
ready
you're
to
on the,
roll.
you're on the emergency
We had a
management.
vehicle which came from the police department, we had a box vehicle, I think District 2 has one, right?
Yeah.
And I turned it back to the police department, and last I knew, it's painted white, it's in the back. It's back at the police station, it went to the DPW, I think it's back at the police, it might be the thing you guys could ask for.
And
Talk
talking
to
to
Joe Vieira, and.
You're talking to Chief Andre. The suits, you can't keep them in his dive van. He keeps his dive van heated.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you have the truck, like for example, District 2, is it inside?
It's outside. They keep it heated. Some of the gear's not even in the truck, just like the police station. You have to keep it heated in the winter, cool in the summer. That was one of the reasons why when the boat was purchased, originally when the new boat was purchased, the district was going to buy a complete set of dive equipment to leave on the boat.
Yeah,
They came back that you couldn't because the
Right.
boat is too hot, you're going to ruin the seals.
Right.
That's why it lives inside here. I know I talked to Lieutenant Takudo, he has an idea for a different type of gear rack for the members that are much bigger than what we have here. We are working on it. Unfortunately, when you look at that wall,
Yeah.
space is starting to get limited
Right.
where their stuff is. What we'll do, there's some cabinets there that we could probably do away with if the divers get bigger lockers. They don't need.
Oh, we'll build some
three-
lockers. Why
they
can't
don't
we
need
can
three
build
or
some
four
cabinets.
lockers.
We can just build it.
It's gonna have the air flow.
Yeah, the ventilation
Pardon?
in it.
Yeah,
It's gonna have
so
the
anything can be constructed.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's, but that's.
So my question to any member of the dive team, if you came here and you grabbed a bag with just all your equipment in it, now how do you get to the scene?
any means necessary.
Yeah, your truck, one of the trucks, whatever we
You know,
got.
like we did a training evolution Saturday. The utility vehicle was being utilized by other guys, so we took our personal vehicles to the training site.
Just put it in the back of a pickup truck.
You know, it is what it is. But you know, we have, you know, me personally, I have my BC set up with my tank, all the regulators ready to go, connected to the mask. That's one set. I have another bag for my dry suit. It's pretty big, so you got to keep it in there. And I have a third bag for my mask, my fins, my weight belt, gloves, hood, extra gloves, winter gloves, summer gloves. It's a pretty elaborate system. And when you go, you don't know what you need. So you got to bring a toolbox for extra parts. You have to bring an extra tank in case you run out of air. You have to bring extra everything. It's just, you know, it's just you got to do what you got to do. You got to be safe.
We are working on it, Mr. Chairman, with DLT, that once we do get spare equipment, that some of the spare equipment we are going to put on the boat. I believe one of the suits are supposed to go onto the new truck. There's going to be a spot for one of the suits to be on the new truck. The cab's going to be larger than this cab for the guys to be able to get dressed in. Like I said, the last rescue, matter of fact, Mr. Leduc was on scene with me. So he had to rely, and he even asked, do you want me to go back to the station and get my gear? And it was like, no, there's a diver there, let him bring your gear here. And I don't know if
See,
he ever
and just
brought
like
it.
I'm thinking logistically, if you have any equipment on the boat, like by the time you get the boat, and say you went down to Clark's Cove, and that say someone falls in off a pier or off the rocks, you know, to me, it'd be easy just to get the bag, run down in whether it's fire apparatus or your vehicle, and you can be there quicker than if we went out to the boat, take the boat. By the time the boat gets there,
The way it has always worked was, Chief can correct me if I'm wrong, the gear always went on to the rescue truck or the personal vehicles on the boat, and off it went. Hey, as Drek put it, we've gone out to Dennis Lloyd, and guys have gone into my cruiser with their dive equipment just to get out there.
right?
It just, again, I'm not a diver. I'm going by what the divers have said. I do know the lieutenant is working on racks. I do know the lieutenant is working on dive bags. I know he's working on some type of backpack instead of bags. I know he's working on a lot of stuff out of this year's budget. So like I said, chances are in 2 weeks, they're going to have a purchase order to purchase the dive equipment that the members said they needed and what the lieutenant feels they need.
And to your response, Joe, as far as a truck like District 2, I think we've gone a long way in the last 2 years, and maybe at some point, you know, the dive team and the chief will say, hey, look, you know, we might need this truck. Then we can, you know, address it then. I think when I'm looking here, I'm seeing, you know, we have suits that are 20 years old, 20, 12 years. I think we just have to get all the equipment, get it in bags, get it organized here, and then if that actually puts the dive team to even a more efficient level, then fine.
We did, Mr. Chairman, I have had this conversation with the lieutenant when it was to keep Rescue 6, and we both agreed that a used UPS truck or a FedEx truck, open body, would be ideal. We're moving some of the equipment out of the station to open up a bay. So if that day does come, it can stay inside. We don't have to heat it. We don't have to cool it.
I think the only way you could have a truck is if you would keep it inside here, really. I mean, you can't have it outside, keep it cool, keep it warm. It has to be inside the
But we are
station.
working on it.
So, Troy?
If I can elaborate a little bit on what the conversation is. Been on the department a lot of years, been on the dive team since it pretty much started around 93. We've come a long way. If you can find another dive team that has as many dive masters as we have on it now, good luck, if you will. And the goal is to have everybody on our team as dive masters by the end of the summer. So we'll have complete dive masters across the board. As far as transport of the vehicle and our gear in the vehicle, we have some options to go with that. Like the chief said, a red truck converted over to a dive team vehicle, which is a great idea. but we have to worry about suspension of the vehicles because you can't just get a basic red truck because it won't hold the suspension won't hold the vehicle. It's a lot of
It
weight.
won't hold the weight, I
Right.
understand.
And one of the other options that was thrown out there is the old Rescue 6 before it goes out to pasture. That could be considered as another alternative as a dive vehicle, something to keep in mind. But as far as the gear goes, we have 2 sets of new gear that have come in over the last year or so. We want to outfit all the divers with new gear, well, as the year goes on. Some of our gear now, like my gear right now, is 15 years plus. You keep it in good condition because the upkeep of the gear, but it's fading away slowly but surely. We want to upgrade all our equipment for all the divers so that we're at the top notch of our dive gear. The finances of it all is that, as you saw, the last 2 sets of dive gear went over $6,000. We're going to need more money to.
Yeah, I think you came into this meeting a little bit later, but we've already discussed everything, and the chief is in favor of if we add from 5,000 to 15,000 or whatever we need to get the dive team up to where it should be for new suits. I didn't realize that we had suits out there around firefighters that are 20 years old. I mean, I have a real problem with that. No, I have a problem with 12 years, no more than 20. So I know, as one member, I'm supporting to raise it to at least $15,000. If my other members feel different, then that's their choice and their option. But no one here, I don't think on this board or with the chief is in disagreement that we need to provide the equipment necessary. Yes, Chief.
Mr. Chairman, I just found out that the regulators also need to go out in November. That's going to be an additional around $2,500 to send them to California. So I'm not sure if you want it, before you take a vote, increase that to $17,500.
Just give them 20,000.
Yeah, 20,000.
And also on that,
Well, the reason I'm saying that is because when we did our calculations in talking to the divers this evening, I was under the assumption that that was 2 complete sets from head to toe. We just were informed that's not the order of the mask, which is 1,800. So,
Well, I'd rather, as one member, spend $20,000 on the dive team than $10,000 on the wall.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think maybe if we can, I mean, that's just how I feel. I feel that the stone wall has been in that condition for a while. Maybe we can just patch it temporarily. But we've gone so far with this dive team. We spent so much. We spent enough money already. But the dive team has spent a lot of time individually. As you said, they've had quite a few dives. 22 since July. I mean, that's how I feel as one member. We're going to spend the
Get a
money.
motion to put 20,000 in their account.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
That's it.
All right, so the guy's going to be, instead of 5, it's going to be 20,000.
20,000.
And this is now going to be what?
Pardon?
The total's went from 27, right, the 15th, it's going to be 32, or 42.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's going to be?
Pardon?
The sum was going to change from 27,000, it's going to be 42,000?
Okay, wait, hold on.
Yes.
We're adding 15, so 15,000 onto 27
It's 42.
would be
42?
42.
So that, instead of 27,000, it's going to be 42,000.
42,000 for Article 8.
Article 8 will now
So-
be 42,000 instead of 27,000.
So maybe we should also vote on the Article 8 that the total is 42,000. So is there a motion on the floor that now Article 8, the amount, the appropriated sum of 42,000?
Right.
I make that motion.
And I'll say,
All in favor? Aye.
aye.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, the other thing that was discussed last week, if I may, was Article 4, which was the deputy chief. And the Prudential Committee instructed me to come back.
Right.
Because we increased it to the 14.5.
Mhm.
And the question was the difference Well, the 12,000 has been, the deputy's been at 12,000 since, I believe, 2009. Since 2009, the rules and regulations, I brought to your board the job description, the qualifications, the duties that have changed since 2009.
Let me see those.
We also have, I didn't give you guys a copy of the rules and regulations. Your board has copies of the rules and regulations. Every post note that we have out of the rules and regulations, the rules and regulations were changed last year and this year, which gave the deputy chief a lot more responsibilities than they had in 2009. Prior to 2009, there was 2 engineers, so each engineer had their own separate tasks they had to do with the department. Since 2009, which your board knows, it's one deputy. Those 2 individuals, so one deputy now has all the tasks.
How much?
And more some.
What was the salary of the 2 in 2009?
I could be off, but I believe it was about 8,000 each. I'm not 100% sure. I believe so. It was 2 for 8,000, and then it went down to 1 when it first in 2008. When it went down to 1, it went to the
12,000.
I think the 12,000. And so now we've technically have combined the 2 positions into 1 position. That was the reason for the extra $2,500.
Mandatory qualifications, they don't need no schooling or no certificates of
It's right there.
any sort.
Right there.
It's on here.
Right there.
Mandatory qualifications.
And that is actually, in 2008, when the Prudential Committee first advertised, it was a quarter of what those requirements were. When the bylaws changed in 2009 and it fell under the chief, that's when more stringent requirements were put in effect.
On the duties, item number 8.
Oh, and there's nothing in it. It's a typo, I apologize.
So there is no 8.
Correct.
Okay.
And when it talks about the rules and regulations, that's the red book.
Okay.
Like in 2010, they were put under the deputy is now in charge for the dispatchers.
Wasn't there a thing we were talking about last week, or week before with the lawyer, that as far as how the deputy chiefs are going to work, that might change, or depending on that?
Well, we're going to talk about that next.
Yeah.
The only other item left is on the Article 11, 12, 13, 14 of May 2009 on the strong chief as far as repealing or reversing. And then we had Attorney Murray here stating that it might change as far as the deputy chief to engineers. There was just, he had a lot of questions. Well, Attorney Murray actually was working on it today, and he sent me a letter probably just a couple hours ago, and basically the conclusion is he needs more time to research because there's just, and also I'm also sending it off to our other lawyer, Attorney Savastano, because I definitely want it to be. I want the I's dotted and the T's crossed. And right now, I don't have an answer. So, and where's our deadline?
The 14th.
Of,
Oh,
yeah, 13th of April. Okay. So if that's something where we need, we will add to the warrant, it's just language, it's not dollar amounts. We can come in
it's a lot of language, it's a lot of typing that has to be done, because those 4
Yeah.
articles took an awful lot of paper.
We'll have to get someone to help you out.
Well, it's not that, it's that they have to, whoever the
Right.
attorney has to do it, they're gonna get it done.
Well, he said here, last meeting, that no problem, remember he said, oh, it would take, it wouldn't take that long to reverse it, so he made that statement, let's, see what happens, but I, at this point,
That means the board has to meet again to do that.
well, no, our next meeting is,
2 weeks.
Too late. It's too late.
Too
We
late,
decided
2
that
weeks.
last week.
The 8th or 14th, it would be too late.
well, let's, if in fact he does come up with some information, then we will meet. We'll have to call a special meeting. It's just that, he just needs some more time to research it. And now Anthony Savastano, they need time to research it, and they're gonna communicate back and forth with each other. But right now, we should, yeah.
You talked about cutting costs last week.
Next.
Well,
You-
but the thing is, to do everything right with this district,
Well,
we really need to,
not,
I know that there's, I've been only on this board, well, it's gonna be going on 3 years, and I know as one member, I've been faced with quite a bit, and it's been a learning experience.
Right.
Legally, it's been a learning experience with everything that has transpired here. And I think as one member, I'm just trying to go forward, clean up anything that in the past that we needed to clean up, and make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's for the district, for the board,
Right.
for everyone.
not to be disrespectful, but I believe I received the same letter from Attorney Murray. In his language, it was the same language that Attorney Collins said. So you technically... the
Not
district-
really, let's not get into, no,
No.
Chief, let's not get into that, because it's not,
Technically, it was...
it's totally different, Chief, okay? Totally different. No, I mean, you can sit there and smile, but it's totally different. I don't wanna, I'm not gonna question, it's a 5-page letter, and I read it, and I'm used to reading a lot of legal, and he was even concerned in certain areas. He was concerned in quite a few areas. So that's why I called up another firm, and now they're looking at it too, and let them both figure it out and get it to us. I'll get it to the chairman. But I am not, and that's why I contacted the other firm, because the other firm thinks different. So,
You-
let them work it out.
Every attorney's going to think different.
Not really,
So it's
let them-
very important that whatever decision is gonna be made is gonna be done by
Yeah.
April the 7th, because after that, we're gonna have big problems, because this has to be printed, it's gonna be in the paper, and we can't wait till the 4th. It has to be done by the 7th or else.
Right.
So can we vote on this warrant now?
Yeah.
Well, you
As
actually
is.
have.
We already
You
actually
already
have.
but if we're gonna make
We,
some
we actually
changes-
voted, the last meeting, we voted on articles. Right now, the
Made
articles we
changes.
changed, we voted to
Okay.
change them, okay? So if we want to include anything, we can just come back, have a meeting, and just include before that deadline.
Because once you
anything.
finalize the entire
Right.
warrant, then I will have you.
So if we don't
redo it.
meet again, this is
This
the
is it.
warrant that will go.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then what I'll have to do is meet with you guys, have you sign it.
Yeah.
As long as you vote it, I will now tomorrow change whatever's been
Right.
changed tonight. If you want to add anything, it's gonna be done by the 7th. If not, it's gonna be too late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I gotta meet the deadlines.
So,
It's in
and-
Paper and gonna be posted. before
Wait, hold it, please. We're still, I'm waiting for the clerk.
So, it just has to be done by the 7th, or that's when.
The 7th is the deadline.
Exactly. Which I believe, I don't have a calendar. Is that a Wednesday? The 7th or Wednesday? It's gotta be, because the 4th, yeah, because the 14th will be our normal meeting, so.
7th is a Thursday. So you'd have to meet
The
on the
6th.
6th, which was the day that we said we weren't going to be here, the date that you guys said you weren't going to meet last week.
Because you couldn't make it that time. I couldn't make it next.
You couldn't make it
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, and he
And
couldn't
you
make
can't make it.
next week.
Yeah, but the chief has everything that he presented to us. He
Well, we're
has
still
all the,
trying to figure out with the deputy chief. Do you have any questions in increasing his salary?
well, I think no matter what, we should address that now, Deputy Chief. That's it in mind.
We still don't even have a contract signed for a deputy chief or anything like that.
I'm comfortable as last week, leaving it where it is.
What was that?
Leaving it where it is my opinion.
As
12.
far as the salary,
Yep.
I agree with that.
Well, wait, is there a motion on the floor?
I make a motion.
No,
We
second.
leave it at 12.
All in favor?
Because right now, the deputy chief is still able to do garage duty and
That has, yeah, this
stuff
has to
like
become
that
part of the
as
minutes.
extra.
Oh, I'll make
Correct.
Can you make copies
Correct.
of that and,
So,
Plus is regular, that's right. Plus is regular, as continue as it is.
right,
So that person can earn more than 12 in
Right.
1 year.
correct.
However, for those duties, it would remain at 12.
Can I present this now?
you can present it, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna read it or enter
It's
into the,
self-explanatory. If you have any questions, you
all
can
right, I'm not
put
reading
it
it
in the
at,
taxpayers.
huh? All right, let me see.
It's self-explanatory.
Is this from the article in the warrant?
No. Just passing it forward. It's self-explanatory if you look at it.
Well, I'm gonna read it.
Are they all the same or are they all different? Just different signatures?
March 3rd, 2010. In accordance with Dartmouth Fire District 1, May 2009 bylaws, Article 3, Section I, we, the following district registered voters, a petition the Prudential Committee of the following article for this year's annual warrant for this May 2011. To this will be presented to Mass 48, regarding to vote to accept the revision of Mass General Laws 4842. The purpose of this article is to accept the vision of Mass General Laws 4842 as printed by Mass General Laws 4865. Proposed amendment shall empower the Prudential Committee to become the appointing authority of the district chief's engineer, who shall become known as the chief of the department to the current holder of the office of chief engineer, and to empower the chief of the fire department to exercise all powers and duties conferred upon or imposed upon by law upon the Board of Engineers of the district, and to be the sole authority of the district's fire department.
This is exactly what we are having researched by the. two
What is your
different
name for the
law
record?
firms.
Paul Gallego.
Paul,
Gallego, G-A-L-E-G-O.
are you a Dartmouth resident?
Yes.
Okay. Address for the record?
76 Merrimack Street, South Dartmouth.
So your, or this petition is to implement strong chief?
Yes.
Okay. That was already in 2009 voted on.
I mean, you know,
It was, I'm just saying,
That's what we have now. So
yeah, it was implemented, this was, yeah.
This wasn't, you know, I was asked to present this to the.
Well, we're gonna send this, I'll tell you what, we're gonna have to send this to legal counsel, and we still have a deadline to meet, because, we already have, this was actually this, I know, you're just the messenger.
Right.
But for the record, we, in May of 2009, there were Articles 11, 12, 13, and 14 to go from the weak chief, change it from the weak chief to the strong chief. And that was voted on in 2009. And,
Just for the record, you were asked to present this.
Yes.
Who was it that
well,
asked you?
Well,
that's
that's,
not,
you know,
Kevin,
I
it doesn't,
can't divulge.
I mean, there's quite a few people here who are residents, and,
Okay.
you know, so they signed it, and that's, you know, it's just that that's what we already have, so I don't think we can,
So what are they looking to reverse what's already been added?
No,
No.
this is to
maybe some people are
give it
under.
the option, I
Well,
guess.
no, I think,
Because that's what we are right now.
yeah, I maybe, I will send it to the legal counsel, I think maybe some individuals are not informed that we do have that in place. Let's just give it to legal counsel, see what, yeah.
Either that or that, you know, maybe we're gonna try to change it, I don't know.
That is what we have, though. We have strong chief. But as I think it was at the last meeting and the meeting before, I myself, as one member, had an issue because of the tenure. I didn't have an issue really of the responsibilities of the strong chief. My whole issue is, I don't think someone should be tenured for life. I think the only individuals that I can recall are judges. And to have a chief tenured and just keep on running, in that position, can create quite a few problems. And actually, it was last meeting, and Attorney Murray was here and raised some of the issues that are some of the problems you can have. So, all right, we'll send this to legal counsel and,
So you're not looking to put an article in the warrant, though, are you? No.
You might want to read what that says.
we did read it, but I have to send this to legal counsel because that was already an article in 2009, in May of 2009.
What we were told was, if it's got 10 signatures and you approve those 10 signatures, even though it was already an article, it has to be put on the warrant to the voters. Because all it takes is one word to have changed. So
Well-
if there's more than 10, if there's 10 signatures on that, according to the bylaws, because we went through this for
We still
years,
have time,
Chief.
we still have time.
Well,
And-
once you vote to finalize your warrant,
Right,
so if tonight you vote to finalize
we're
your
not
warrant.
voting, we didn't vote to finalize,
Got it.
okay?
Okay.
We didn't vote.
Maybe we should put all three different, weak chief, strong chief, and elected on the ballots.
Maybe we should.
There we go.
The Prudential,
Honestly,
see,
let the
the,
voters decide.
yeah, the Prudential Committee has the authority to put on a warrant without signatures, if they vote with a majority vote. So,
I
at
mean,
this point with this, at
In
this,
theory, that could change every year. I mean,
Yeah.
if it changed in 2009, and it's changing this year,
What that will do, that will destroy. You might as well shut the doors. You might as well shut the doors to the department, because what's going to happen is the bylaws clearly state 50 signatures, you have a special meeting. You might as well just plan on hiring a police officer and open the station, because all it's going to take is every month there's going to be 50 signatures in here calling for a special meeting.
see, but
And
that,
what I'm
Chief,
saying is it's going to destroy the department.
no, Chief,
If
that's
the
your
same-
opinion.
If that's the same article, then you don't need to do it. But if that article is changed, that article's a different article.
First of all, Chief, we already have a strong chief. So for individuals to come and want to put the same article that we already have and voted on 2 years ago, because there's a lot of other residents out there that want to put the weak chief on, okay, that's just, okay, you're putting the weak chief, now let's vote to see if we can put the strong chief. Well, maybe I concur with Kevin that let's put elected on it and let the people vote, because at this point, like I said, I have a problem with the tenure.
There's ways around the tenure.
Well,
They-
according to Attorney Murray, there were some major issues with tenure.
With all due respect, Mr. Chairman, there's ways around the tenure.
Well, you know what? We had a lawyer here who represents the district, and he said tenure is a problem.
There's ways around the tenure.
So, Mr. Chairman, the way I read it then is that what that petition is saying is to keep a strong chief, which is already in the bylaws.
Right, it was, yeah, it was. It was voted on, and in May, the annual meeting, May of 2009, Articles 11, 12, 13, 14. You can look. I mean,
right now, I don't see, unless I'm missing a word for word, this is what we're following now. So would the warrant just read warrant number 10 to keep the form of government the same we have?
Well,
that's what I mean,
I'm not an attorney, but I think if
we already have it,
bylaws is already here,
then why are we
that
putting it
should-
on?
I think what that's doing, that's backing up what's in here.
Yeah.
It's not to change it, because what we're doing now is what they want to do in that petition.
And if we have,
Or maybe they want to
yeah,
have the choices thrown out there. Whether,
Yeah,
fine, maybe if it's not all three,
the-
maybe if it's weak or
the
strong.
intention-
So-
what's the intention?
What I want to say is, it's because to stop the rumor mill.
What's the rumor though?
The
Well-
elected changing everything. It's the, I'm telling you.
Well, listen, I don't-
It's to stop the rumor mill.
I'm not, as one member, is not in favor of elected. But it seems like, I'm
If
in,
it's the same
but
article,
I'm in
I agree with
favor,
you, put it in.
and I'm not disagreeing with a strong chief. I think
But
a
if
chief
it's
has,
that
I think
significant,
that the difference
Not the same
between a strong chief and a weak chief, according to Murray, is strong chief is tenured. I mean, if you're a chief of a department, you're the chief. If you have everything in place and you run the department, the fire chief or the chief engineer runs that department. And if they're good at management and they run everything across the board and fair and everyone is disciplined accordingly, they can run a department. Now, my problem is, tenure is, I don't think that, I think that when you have a contract with an individual for 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years, they come up after 3 years for review. Tenure means that there is no 1, 2, or 3. That chief just keeps on running with no ending contract.
With all due respect, Mr. Chairman, we must have had two different letters, because to take it back to 65, the Prudential Committee's in charge of the deputy. You guys are the appointing authority of the chief and the assistant, and it actually goes to chief engineer and assistant engineers. That bylaw was changed by the Prudential Committee. The Prudential Committee at the time asked, in 2008, when it was 4865, and the Prudential Committee had to advertise for the deputy and do the interviews of the deputy, and the deputy fell under the jurisdiction of the Prudential Committee, including the budget, to figure out the whole budget. The Prudential Committee is the one that inserted that. Legal counsel explained to the Prudential Committee at the time the differences between 65 and 42. The Prudential Committee is the one that inserted that article at the district warrant, because they did not want to be responsible for hiring and disciplining the deputy chief. And from what I'm being told, tenure, there are ways to take care of the tenure.
Well, other than any letters, our attorney sat there in front of us and explained to this board what tenure really meant. And meant that you cannot, there is no 1 year, 2 year, 3 year contract. It just runs. And I have a problem with any, and it's not you, Chief, it's not personal. I have a problem with an employee or any contract that just keeps on running. And, and there's no end date. I think there should be an end date for a lot of reasons. First of all, negotiations of all the benefits. I mean, how can you not negotiate? And actually, the current contract we have, this board, the current contract we have with the chief, states in there that if we do not come to an agreement on anything, it just keeps on running, and that the chief has to agree with us, 100%. Otherwise, it just keeps on running. So maybe the contract needs to be rewritten for, that chief's position, but that tenure is a sticky with me. That I just, and even in the town of Dartmouth, they've had a lot of issues over the last few years, as everyone knows, on quite a lot of contracts which were automatic renewals. And to me, a 10 year is an automatic renewal.
Right, but like I said, when it comes to this chief's contract, we already took the automatic renewal out of it. And in talking to Attorney Collins, who basically did 48, 42, and talking to Attorney Murray today, there are ways of taking care of tenure. And the committee that was formed by the Prudential Committee,
Chief,
with Chief
I would really like to get
taking care of tenure.
But the thing is, I want the I's dotted, the T's crossed. I need our other lawyer to look at it. And I just don't want either this board or the future board or future boards to run into this question, or I'm just trying to solve problems here. Okay? And, it's in the past, there's items that have been overlooked. And I wasn't on those boards, in a lot of areas. And I've been here for almost 3 years, and it seems like every single month, there's always something, there's always an issue, and there's always something to straighten out. And I have no problem doing that, because that's why I ran for this position, is to, whether it was the insurance that we didn't have on the firefighters, we only had $100,000 in medical, and that's not your fault. It just, no one really looked at it. Or whether it was, to implement that drug policy to protect the district and protect you, Chief, so you can have a mechanism. It's just always something. So this is just something else, another issue or item that we have to get through and just make it right.
Mr. Chairman, is that going to legal counsel?
Yeah, I'm going to send this to legal.
And he can make an opinion as to whether
Right.
it's covered by what's already in
And
there.
he'll talk, you go through the chair, and then if we have to call another meeting, we're going to have to call another meeting. Maybe we should call another meeting, just to have one, just to finalize. We're meeting every week, every other week. This is something else.
Once we get it right, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
how often we, once we get it
Right.
right. It's important to get it right, and not how often we meet.
Right. So, one learning experience. So, okay, I'm gonna send this to legal. It looks like we probably might be meeting again. But financially, all the articles on the warrant, I think we're all set with financially. Am I correct with my board and all the clerk and the chief? We have everything on there? Okay.
You got the other one's hand.
Okay. Hi, Charlie, yes.
Charles Oman, West Mills Road. I've been on this department, was on this department for a lot of years,
Mhm.
and I was always selected, and that is not a good way to go. I only, you three guys would probably like to have elected again, but
No,
that is not the way to
Okay.
go, sir. Not
Mr. Orman, if you heard me, I said as one member,
Yeah.
I'm not in favor of an elected position, okay? And I'm saying that right now in public. I'm not in favor of the chief of this department being an elected position,
No, I hope
okay?
not.
No, I'm not.
That-
Because I haven't been on the fire department, but I've been in town for quite a while, and I just know that some of the issues in the past, and I definitely think that appointed position is the best one,
well,
okay?
That's what the chief is now, appointed.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but there's some,
And that's-
there's a question here of whether it's strong, weak, tenure, which we have to, figure out.
Most all chiefs, as far as I know, are strong chiefs. I don't know if they have any or not. Does it, chief?
Oh, I think,
I don't know.
they're very few and far in between.
So, that's,
You can't.
and now we have another petition, so.
You really can't run a fire department anyhow, like.
And I don't have, and I want the chief or the engineer, I certainly don't want to run the fire department. I do not, as one member, want to be in charge of the firefighters and be in discipline. That's not my job. My job, I feel, is to appropriate the money necessary to take care of the building, for their salaries. I don't want to run the fire department, but I still think that the chief should be accountable to someone, or some board. And if the chief is appointed by the Prudential Committee, it depends, what the accountability there is. I don't know, that's why we're trying to figure everything out. But I certainly do not feel that we should go backwards to an elected chief. So, okay, no. Anything else, members of the board?
The only question I had was, it's just a quick thing, go back to, try and grab the article again. I believe it's on Article 5, building accounts.
Yes.
Now, I know we have a duty guy here in the days. Are we still gonna be paying for another company to come in and do our cleaning? When we have the duty guys that has a list of things that, I don't know if John, the chief gave us the list
Well,
of
how
what
much,
they
how much
do.
do we pay the cleaning company right now? Do we know? How much?
I'm showing $5,000 and then I'm showing maintenance of the building $22,000. What's in the maintenance of the building?
Well, maintenance could be, it could be repairs, it could be,
Didn't we already do something for repair money? And maintenance in the article we changed earlier?
You still have to have some allowance in every budget for,
Right.
baseballs going through windows or things like that out of the ordinary.
well, we have a maintenance building account under article, which is the building account.
In Article 5. Then we have
We
cleaning
also-
and rugs.
The
Which
cleaning
is-
and rugs could be.
That could be just,
I believe it's these rugs here that the outside company comes
Yeah.
in and takes and
it's
cleans.
probably on a lease or a rental, right?
Right.
Well, we were talking at the last meeting that all of a sudden, if we actually increased the fire the fire department personnel by quite a bit of percent. So if we run short, then we're gonna have to do some cuts somewhere, maybe that might be a cut. And we'll have to have, the chief will have to have maybe the duty personnel pick up the slack, or,
The only thing that the duty job in the town, Mr. Chairman, he does not have the equipment to scrub this floor. Because the company that comes in brings his own scrubber and stuff like that
They do the carpets.
to do the scrubbing. And he has a shampooer that he shampoos the rugs, etc.
see, I don't have a breakdown of what that is. Is
There
it
is a-
monthly?
There
He
is
probably
a-
charges it monthly.
If you can get into your cabinet, there is a contract that was signed
Right.
by PC, that he comes in. What it is, I honestly could not tell you.
But we don't have that figured. Our treasurer's not here to, what does that figure?
I know it was cut down.
Right.
I think it used to be every other weekend. I mean, forgive me, every other week. And I think it went probably down to once a month now.
Yeah, I think it,
Since
I
then,
think
you
it's
guys
once a
been
month.
in here.
right?
Out
So
of the three numbers, 6850, what is, anybody know what that is?
Supplies.
Supplies of
Well,
what?
that's support of the district, so that would be,
Right.
let me see. Chief?
Give me 1 second. Maintenance, what was the number, Mr. Sawyer?
6850. Supplies other, support of the district.
That is, just like professional services and telephones, that is something the treasurer puts in every year.
What is it though?
It could be pens, pencils, newspaper, anything that, that the office or the treasurer needs.
I just hate signing off on things I don't know where the money's going.
Well, with the treasurer was here last week, I think, you know, I mean, most of the items here, last week, for example, the large items, the counter retirement, 20,000, that's fixed. The fuel for the vehicles, the $60,000 for the insurance and the health insurance, and the legal fees, and the maintenance for the apparatus, the 25,000 for the marine, and then obviously the 235 for the call firefighters. The 235 was half of the support of the district, and then when you add the other large items for the 20,000, 15, 20, 14, 60, 50, 35, 25, that's, you know,
Because that supplies had a great, pretty much increase of, was it 117.07%?
well, in fiscal year 2010, they appropriated 10,000, but they
Right.
only spent 3,000.
Right.
So then they appropriated 5,000, but they spent 5,800.
58.
So, I mean, they're within pretty much range of what, we only appropriated 5,000 last year, and we spent 5,800. So it's not a large,
We also took, Mr. Chairman, some articles that have been in the past and broke it down. The treasurer has his spreadsheet
right?
that he presents that it clearly explains what each one of those are.
Now, how about the, like, for instance, the purchase orders and stuff that came in before for like the soffits to be fixed, and that money was on hold? Is any of that shown in here?
It might be shown on,
'Cause I know we got a few things on hold
Might be
that was
reserved.
already,
no, this is, it might have been shown on another spreadsheet, but this is for this fiscal year coming
Right.
up. Those were articles, that is totally separate, the articles, which we don't have the breakdown of the articles. That money for the trim is on an article that's set aside. That is, you will see that on your monthly breakdowns, not for this fiscal year.
And we're not doing that until, I'm under the impression that until the roof gets done, I thought.
It's
Pardon?
part of the same.
It's part of the
That's
same,
what you gotta do.
right?
The
You have to do the
cupola
roof and the
gotta be
cupola
done
before you do everything
on the
else,
rest.
right? So that was like, that was appropriated before, but that's been on hold
Right, that
until
money's-
now we get the roof done.
got a question, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
On part of the roof bid, is the chimney being taken care of also?
Nothing,
No.
nothing referenced.
Because I mentioned to Mr. Sophia, the chimney is cracked at the roof line where the chimney meets the, where it meets the flashing of the roof, totally cracked, right on the perimeter.
Well,
When
is
they
it,
do
is-
the
does it
When
need,
they do the roof, they should be doing a cricket
well,
around the chimney, and you should have it.
That was the chimney on the main roof, was that
The
on this
chimney
roof?
bounces off the roof, straight off the side of the building. Right here.
No, it'd be right
Actually, right
here.
here where this whiteboard is.
right.
So that
So-
doesn't, that's not really actually part of the,
Well, the roof,
Yeah.
the chimney goes
But it-
into
right.
the roof.
So
And
is,
there's no cricket built into the back of the chimney, so you're getting all that water.
right, so I'm sure they're gonna
Yeah,
flash it
flash.
and they'll, we'll make sure that they do.
Mason take care of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's part of your.
First we heard of that.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
first we've
it
heard.
wasn't on.
But if it needs to be appointed, obviously,
I
we'll
don't
get
know
it done.
if it's gonna cut it.
Pardon?
I don't know if repointing's gonna just cut it.
No. If not, we'll have to, we'll get it fixed. Anything else?
good.
Motion to adjourn.